Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about why every possibility you should start your students on an electric guitar. Adults or children, but especially kids. Now, I am holding an acoustic guitar right now because I'm going to show you the difference. Now, if you're an accomplished or even been playing guitar for any length of time, you should already know this because it's self-explanatory. But I wish I had a nickel for every person who said, really, electric's easier? Yeah, you'd think you'd be able to see that, but people are clueless when it comes to instruments most of the time. That's why they come to us, we're the experts, so that's our job to help them out. So let's jump right into why. Okay, so even for somebody like me with these gargantuan meat hooks for hands, I have bigger hands than a lot of people. This is a great guitar. This is actually a Yamaha FG830. It's the only acoustic I've ever owned, and it sounds amazing. It's a budget $300 instrument, but you know, it's big, it's bulky, the body is this freaking thick, and the strings are harder to press down. They're made out of some kind of bronze versus steel for electric strings, and so the action is higher until the strings takes a little more effort to push them down. And for kids or even adults with small hands, it's bulkier, and they have to tilt it back. Like you'll see your children, students do this all the time. They'll lay the guitar on their lap and try to play it like this, just because it's easier to see, and I understand why. So basic bottom line, it's just physically harder to play, and it's not something that most people take easy to in the first place. You want them to play on an instrument that they enjoy playing as much as possible, that's easy for them, especially when they're a beginner, and it's already tough to do on an electric, much less something like this, or even one of those smaller bodied acoustics. It's still physically harder to play even if it's a well-made one. So the obstacle you usually have is the parent who does not want to invest a bunch of money, or even a reasonably decent amount of money for what they're paying for, because they want to make sure the kid stays interested long enough for their money to be spent well. So let me put this down and grab the electric and show you the obvious comparisons. Now this one is the thinnest body guitar I have ever had. You can see how thin it is, not even an inch thick. I couldn't tell you what it is, I haven't measured it. I just got this guitar not very long ago. This is Ibanez S model. They are all really thin. Now, I don't think anything else is thinner than this, but you can see the difference. The neck is super thin, the body is super thin, and it's really light. And you can still tilt it back a little bit and see everything easily. And you can, even my big hands, even with, this is a 7-string, but I can still get my whole hand around it as big as my hands are. A lot of people can't do that. But for the comfort factor, it's a whole lot easier in every respect. If you check out this one, this is another Ibanez S model, but notice, even though they're the same series, this one's thicker than this one. This one also weighs a little more. They're both made out of mahogany, but this 6-string one is a little bit heftier and a little bit thicker than the 7-string. But just so you get an idea. So the parent is going to say they don't want to spend a whole bunch of money to have the student get an electric first, because they have to buy the amp and the cable and all the accessories that go with it, because they don't want to spend a bunch at first, because they want to make sure the kid remains interested long enough for their money to actually do what it needs to, for them to actually have some proficiency on it. So what you've got to do is convince them that their money is well spent with that, because they're going to waste their money on lessons if the kid does not enjoy playing the guitar, and a lot of times they don't when it comes down to playing the acoustic. Even for me, with these huge hands and very heavily calloused fingers on my fret hand, it's tougher for me to push these strings down. I can definitely feel it just physically takes more effort to do it. So imagine a little kid with fingers only about this long trying to push this down. Like chords, they don't like it. It hurts. It's tough. And if the student's not enjoying lessons, period, they quit. And it's not because they don't enjoy it with you, etc. It's just if they can't enjoy playing the thing because it's physically hard for them to do it, they're not going to want to. So you want to communicate that to whoever's paying for it. And if you work at a store, you're going to be able to introduce them to the combo pack, which gives you the guitar, the strap, the cable, the tuner, the picks, the strap, the amp, everything in one package. And you're kind of limited on which instrument you can get, but you don't need anything fancy. I mean, you don't need an Ibanez Prestige to start. They need, a Squire, whatever it is, or the Epiphone, or Ibanez actually does make a starter pack, but just something that they get everything in one package, because that way they're going to spend less money and the kid gets everything that they need. And it's always cooler, and almost every student who transfers over from acoustic to electric likes it better. Perfect example, there was a young boy not long ago at my store who was a real pain in my ass. And he wasn't a bad kid, but he was kind of mouthy. He had grandma with him all the time. Grandma's a sweet lady, but all the kid could do was complain. He's kind of bossy. But the last time he played his acoustic guitar, he was literally crying because it hurt so bad for him to push down. You'd think the thicker strings would hurt more, but the thinner ones do, because they just dig into the fingertip more. And so I tried to get him to play a specific chord or something, and he wasn't practicing that much, partially because of that. I mean, a lot of them don't practice that much in the first place, but this just makes it harder for him to do that. So I decided I didn't want to deal with this anymore, and marched us out to the area where they had the electric, grabbed a Schecter or something off the wall, handed it to him, said, "Play this." And the whining instantly stopped. The kid went from whine to shine, and he was instantly happy. And I didn't have any problem with him after that for quite some time. And I know his dad was hesitant to get him the electric because of the cost, but again, like, whatever you pay for lessons, you're wiping your ass with your money if the kid doesn't enjoy it, because they're not going to want to play. So spend the extra and get them the electric, because it just makes a whole lot of difference. I mean, I love the sound of this acoustic. I'm primarily an electric player. I still enjoy playing electric more than this thing, because it's just what I prefer to play on most of the time. So if it's better for me, imagine a little kid with small hands, or even an adult with small hands. I had a lady with really short fingers who bought an Ibanez RG because of the same reason: thin neck, low action, and she had trouble fretting basic, like a D chord, because she had trouble getting her fingers to wrap around this big bulky neck of whatever other guitar she started with. So that's the basic premise of today's lesson. It's really pretty self-explanatory, but your main obstacle is, when you're dealing with kids, just getting the parent to spend that extra amount. But they will be glad they did. The kid will be happier. Remember, whine to shine. That is a big thing, and it will make a tremendous difference in your students' enjoyment of the instrument. It's also going to make your job easier, because, let's face it, most kids are cool, but the ones that are whiny, we don't like dealing with them. So let's make that easiest on ourselves and try to limit that as much as humanly possible, because this is an enjoyable job, but there are irritances that go with it, like any other profession. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and peace out until next time.